Do we really need hundreds of superintendents, each of whom are paid six-figure salaries apiece? It's not their fault. They're just individually doing their job, but the system is set up in a way that does replicate a lot of those functions. And so I think we need to be smart about whether we think about, consolidation has a scary valence to it and maybe connotations to it, but think about even just shared services, right? Harnessing efficiencies for two townships or counties that functionally are part of the same operating community, but at some point a government drew an arbitrary line between them. Does that really make sense 200 years later? It's a little archaic, and so I think we live in a moment where thoughtful modernization makes sense. We have, you'll know the exact numbers, but upwards of 600 plus school districts. You have thousands of taxing authorities. I remember in my hometown, we'll go, where I grew up in Evendale. I grew up in Westchester and then Evendale, not far from you, Nancy, but then we'll drive over to Sharonville. There's the Evendale mayor, there's the Sharonville mayor. It was one community, all part of the Princeton School District, has nothing to do with the electoral boundaries for where a state assemblyman or a state senator is elected, which limits the loops of accountability. I do think that there are certain areas where moving to regional style governance can actually make sense for the state, and in a way that respects home rule as a tradition along the way. I think we can do those things all at once in a way that reflects real common sense, in a way that delivers property tax relief, in a way that puts money in the pockets of Ohioans, and also brings greater accountability, both the state and local government, to be able to build more homes to bring down the cost of housing without certain land use restrictions necessarily getting in the way of new construction. Build more energy, produce more energy in the state without red tape or permitting timelines getting in the way. That's how you drive down those electric bills that are 50% higher this summer than they were last summer. Increase supply. That's how you bring down cost and make the American dream more affordable. So these are practical solutions that are at the interface of state and local. I'm a pragmatist, not an ideologue about this. And so I really mean this. I know probably every person in this room is more knowledgeable on the ground about what that entails for how we're able to drive positive change at the county levels. And I want to rely on that knowledge. We're counting on you, actually. And partisanship aside, Republican or Democrat, I view you as our partners in making sure that we're thoughtful and rational about making government at every layer as effective as we possibly can. And just because it is, doesn't mean that it has to stay that way. What is and what should be are two different things. And so what we want to do is work together to take Ohio to where we should be, rather than just to accept the status quo of where we are. So I appreciate that question, Nancy. Thank you.